we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. All the good times just begun. We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright. Oh, you and I.
Hi guys, welcome to Meadow Sweet Farm Fiber Arts Design Studio. My name's Bonnie, and today's date, I think it's like today is the day before Mother's Day, so it's the 11th of May. So 2024. So welcome to my channel. I live in southwestern Pennsylvania in a little community called Hickory. It's a small farming town, and I have a very small, as Susan from Wild Cottage, Ireland says, a small holding of nature. And I'm here just to document the things that I make, the things that I enjoy crafting, spinning, knitting, weaving, gardening, taking care of chickens and horses and cats and dogs and all the stuff that you have living out in the country. So today I'll start off with my finished objects. I do talk a little bit about my life as well, things that are happening, and I'll share that with you towards the end. But let me share with you what I've been making. So I actually finished two things. I'll show you my first finished object. I finished a pom-pom. So yeah, it's been a crazy 2 weeks, and I am trying to post every 2 weeks. I think it's been maybe a day or two after 14 days, but so yeah, I finished a pom-pom, and this is going to go on my hats that I showed in the last episode. So these hats were made on a circular knitting frame, and I really like making those. I sell a lot of my things. I have an Etsy shop. It's Meadow Sweet Farm Fiber Arts is on Etsy, and I go to local craft shows and farmers markets and things like that. So, but yeah, so I did get to finish a pom-pom. But the big thing that I was working on, and this is a follower, she follows me on Instagram, and I don't know if she's on my, she comes over here onto the YouTube channel or not, but I made this rope bowl for her, and I got it all finished. I was so excited. It turned out great. And usually what I do is I wet block these. And so I did a wet block. It's still damp, believe it or not. And I wet blocked this last weekend. So it's been over a week, but it changed the color. It almost stained it. It is really strange. It's like some of the rope is white and other parts are kind of a tan color. You can see it on the inside. So my thought was it's probably like that because it's wet. And I was debating about sending it to her, and I sent her a note on Etsy, and I said, you know, I'll put it in the mail, and if it's still discolored, I certainly will make you one and send it, and you can keep that one that I have, and I'll send you a new one. Don't worry about any cost or anything like that. So I put it out on the porch. I had everything labeled to go to UPS, and that morning that I set it out, I was headed to Florida to take care of my mom for a couple days. when I came home, the box was still sitting there. And they even gave me a tracking number and everything. Or they gave me a confirmation number, not a tracking number. So I have no idea what happened there. But anyway, I made her a new one, and I sent it to the post office today. So she should be getting it. If you're watching, you know who you are. You know who you are. And it should be there on Tuesday. So I will put the tracking number in Etsy as soon as I'm done here. So yeah, so I've made a couple other smaller ones. I made 2 little tiny ones for my mom and for my daughter Jacqueline, and I'll put the picture in here now so you can see what those little ones look like. And they're in my Etsy shop as well. Okay. So those are really my finished objects. I have been working on a cow, and I thought I had it sitting here. It must be out in the other room. I'll get that in a little bit. But it's really easy. I love it. It's a really simple knit. And in fact, I got more, it's so easy and simple, and I was able to mindlessly do this on the airplane. It's a self-striping, so I did get some other yarn to go with it, which these are colors I've not really used that much, so I'm excited to try these. I'm kind of thinking, I don't know if 1 skein is going to be enough, so when I get closer to the end, I'll try it, but let me wait here. I will get it. Okay, so the name of the pattern is called April Flowers Cow, and there you can see it, and she is using the same yarn that that I am using, or I'm using the same yarn that she's using. So April Flowers Cow, and it is written by Jen Hendricks. Very easy, easy peasy. If I can do it, you can do it. So I am using, this is Earth Yarns. It's UNEEK, unique. And I don't know what colorway this is. The construction is really simple. There's garter stitch border on each side, but you kind of turn it and you have to seam it up. But here it is. I love the colors. So, but I don't have much yarn left, and I'm almost at the end. I have 1 more part to go, part 3, and I'll be done. But yeah, so there is that. And then I got this colorway. I don't know if they name them or not. This is called Pan 24. They don't really give a name. Each skein of earth yarn sold plants a tree in Africa in partnership with TTF. Trees for the Future. Okay, oops. So I'm gonna try that one. Again, unique earth yarns. And then this one, and this is color way Twist of Spring. So, and these knit up really fast, and you know I am a really slow knitter. So, so yeah, I went to Fort Lauderdale. My sister and her family took a trip to Montana to go fishing, and my daughter Jacqueline and I went to stay with my mom. She's 98. Hi, Mom. We had fun. We had a good time. And unfortunately, my poor sister, it was freezing cold in Montana, and they live in Fort Lauderdale, and they're definitely not used to the cold. And on their way home, it snowed so bad they closed the Bozeman airport. So they were delayed unbelievably. So, so I got back Thursday afternoon, picked Gabe up at Pampered Paws. They were showing me videos of him playing outside. They have the cutest thing. They have like a little swimming pool, and they have like a little kitty like gym set where there's like a little slide and they get to run through hoops, and the dogs are just all playing and running, and Gabe was having a grand old time. So so he's well taken care of when I have to go away. So, but my daughter Jacqueline and I and my mom and my brother is down there too. We all had a really nice time, had nice dinners together, and it was really nice. So it was a good time to visit. So, but everybody's home and settled and back into the swing of their life. Stephen's mowing, and it's freezing. I actually have a fire going, which I'm gonna take a minute and stoke the fire here because it is cold. It's like 50 degrees. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. I have fallen down this crazy rabbit hole. I've been influenced by the ultimate crafting influencer, Kate, from the last Homely House. I know she doesn't. She did watch a long time ago. She did say she watched my podcast and mentioned me. But anyway, Kate does a ton of quilting, and I love to quilt. I just, you know, it's just, there's not enough hours in the day, you know, to try to get everything done. So don't be too grossed out, and I love this, and I bought this. This is an antique, and I know I've showed this before, but this is English paper piecing, and I got this at an antique shop, and it is so terribly stained. I love it. I had this, actually, it's probably even more stained because I had my coffee pot sitting on top of this. And it's got tears in it, and you can see some of the fabric is disintegrating. All the orange, for some reason, really took a beat, and there's two orange ones that, it could be the dye. There's another orange one. There's three. It just totally got disintegrated. So the other ones are holding up pretty good. So I've never done English paper piecing, and I really, really want to try it. So I have one of those Sizzix machines, and this is all fabric that is from Stephen's mom and grandma, most of it. So I have a huge garbage bag filled with their scraps. So I'm getting started, and I have all the little, they're 1 inch. So I have my little papers. Yeah, so I've cut out a whole bunch. I think I have enough. So I kind of am going with the red theme. I have a red kitchen sink. So I was just gonna go with different colors with red, which I think will be fun. So I'm gluing. I know Kate, she sews hers, but I'm just using a glue stick and doing it that way. So yeah, so this will be a work in progress because I have so many things on the go. Normally I just do one thing at a time and I stick with it, and I'm doing that with the knitting the cow. Oh, I showed you the cow. Blee. I still have jet lag. So anyway, I want to do this, but when I was watching Kate, her and Anna were talking about, you know, like the origins of quilting and how it really came to be. So one of my very first episodes, I talked about this book, and this is written by Dorothy Osler, and this is Amish Quilts and the Welsh Connection. And my family heritage, my grandfather on my mother's side, my maternal grandparents, my grandfather was from Manchester, England, and my great-grandmother, maternal great-grandmother came to the United States when she was 2 with her family from Germany. So, but on my father's side, on the paternal side, they're from Wales. So I was really interested in learning about this history. And according to the research that was done, when the Amish communities began to settle, particularly in Indiana, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, many of the Welsh settlements were settling in those areas as well. Now, the Amish tradition has always been very, you know, not any flowers or printed fabric. Everything was very dull and muted, and very, very symmetrical, geometric shapes and everything. So one would think that based on the style of quilts that you would see from the Amish, which, okay, so here's 2 Amish quilts. Dark colors, you know, not any patterned colors, and everything is very geometric and very orderly and organized. Okay, so you would think that the, you know, you would think that the folks from Wales, you know, since they're living in communities side by side one another, the folks from Wales, did they copy? Oh no, dear friend. It was the other way around. So here, and according to the research done, and I'm using one of these as my bookmarker, it's the people from Wales, the Welsh, started this tradition using, you know, the flat colors and no patterns. And it was the Amish that took those things and made it theirs, you know, with the colors and choices that they used. So I know that there were close settlements of Amish and Welsh communities in the Pittsburgh area, and they were all over Pennsylvania, Berks County, Lancaster, you know, into Ohio, Indiana, all those areas. They, the settlements of Amish and Welsh dispersed equally in those communities. So years and years ago, when my daughters were really, really little, and I did tell this story, I wanted a quilting frame. And there's a place north of Pittsburgh, it's called New Wilmington, and there's a huge Amish settlement up there. But there's, you know, in the 80s and 90s, there was all the craft, you know, little craft shops that were so abundant. And I would go up there. They had an Amish auction where you could buy quilt tops and make, quilts made by the Amish women. And so I was at a little shop and I said, I'd really like to have a quilting frame. Do you know anybody that makes them? And they sent me to a Yoder farm, that was their last name, and I made friends with Rebecca. And at the time, Rebecca was pregnant with her daughter, which was her firstborn, and I was pregnant with Jacqueline, my second. So we just got to be really good friends. We wrote back and forth to each other. Her husband made me my quilting frame, and he also made me my kitchen table. Hello. This is future Bonnie. Even though I'm wearing the same outfit, I'm not wearing the same earrings. I thought I was recording and I never hit record. So I can see now that I am. And, whoops, Zach. After I realized that I didn't have the last part of the video that I was recording and just babbling on, I was feeling really cold. And in fact, if you listen to the video, you'll hear that I say, I'm gonna stoke the fire. It's really cold, it's 50 degrees. And I was chilled to the bone. And it was chilly, it was damp, it was raining off and on, but I was cold and chilled. And Stephen was outside working, mowing the grass, and he came in and I said, I can't get warm. And I was sitting like right next to the fire. And so he said, well, why don't you do a COVID test? Yep, my test was positive. So, it scared me because, I went through all that time period where we were checking our temperatures every day when we went on campus, and I had the injections, and I didn't have it. I had the vaccinations. I actually didn't get the last vaccination because I just assumed that COVID was pretty much gone. But I guess when you're flying on airplanes and you don't wear a mask, which most people don't, you're taking a risk. So luckily for me, I am, knock on wood, relatively healthy. And what symptoms I had was, it was all upper, you can still hear. I'm still pretty nasally, but I started Saturday. I went to bed probably around 8 o'clock and slept most of the day on Sunday. It was miserable, just stuffy nose was running, my throat was kind of sore. And Monday, the same thing. And then yesterday I woke up and I was a little tired, but I was like, okay, I can move around. I don't have to lay in bed. I don't have to like sleep. And today I feel a lot better. So I sound worse than I am. So if you have to go on a long bus ride or a plane ride, it's still out there. So just take the precautions that you feel comfortable doing. So, so anyway, I was telling you about my friend Rebecca. And Rebecca is the Amish girl from New Wilmington that her and I met when we were just young moms. And so Rebecca's husband, as I said, he made me a quilt frame, and he made me my kitchen table that we used for years and years. I have it now in my studio. So, but Rebecca, when you would walk, you'd pull off into her lane, and there was a little gravel area to park, and then an area that went to the barns, and then there was a little tiny wooden bridge, and then a walkway that took you to the front door. And on the other side of this little tiny little bridge was the most perfect garden I've ever seen in my life. It was a combination of, it was actually the first time I'd ever seen the bleeding heart flowers, which I love, and I had them for years. I'm gonna look for them again this year. I think they're early bloomers. That sounds funny. Early bloomers. I have my early bloomers on, but it was impeccable. Everything was perfectly lined up. Just, it was her signature. So when we corresponded, we sent each other recipes, and I asked her what she wanted when she was pregnant with her daughter Sarah, when I was pregnant with Jacqueline. Jacqueline was born, and then Sarah. And I asked Rebecca what she wanted as a gift, and she said she wanted a mobile, the little crib mobiles. And so I got her one of those, and I guess they can't have anything like that. They can't purchase it, but if somebody gives it to them, they can accept it. So when I went to see her and to deliver the little mobile, along with, I had other things too, some diapers and just all the stuff that you need, little Sarah was dressed in the Amish attire, the hat, the shoes, the stockings, the apron. I mean, she looked like a little baby doll. She was so adorable. So we kept in touch for a little while through writing, and then, if I had the chance to break away, now at that point I had Samantha, who was 4, and Jacqueline is a newborn. I didn't get to go up to New Wilmington. It was about an hour's drive. So years later, I was up there, and, it's all changed because, the fad of all the cute little Amish shops and everything, they kind of just disintegrated. I mean, there's some, and there's still some up there, but it's not the big, fad and craze that it used to be whenever, in the 80s when I was raising my daughters, and in the 90s. So I thought, I wonder if Rebecca still lives there, because when I met her, she was living in the small house on the farm, and her parents were living on the large house. And the transition was that Rebecca and her family moved into the big house, and then the parents moved back into the littler house. And that's when I met Rebecca, just when they had made that transition. So I drove up, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I wonder if she still lives here. I wonder if the daughter lives here. So I pulled up, got out of the car, walked over the little bridge, and there's the impeccable garden with the bleeding heart and the marigolds all around the edges, and everything perfectly lined up. And I thought, she has to still be here, or Sarah is taking over Mom's gardening talents. So I looked in the window, and I could see Rebecca and she looked the same. And this is, you know, had to be, you know, almost 20 years later, and or even more, definitely more, probably 25 years. And she had glasses. That's the only thing. So I rapped on the door, and I'm looking at her with this like giant Cheshire cat grin, like, hello, I'm here, you have to remember me. And she kind of gave like a triple take, and then she recognized me, and she got the biggest, giantest smile. We had a definite chinwag that afternoon, talking about all the things in our family and the changes in our lives. And so what's interesting with her now is she has a nursery. So she has a huge greenhouse behind her house, and she sells all kinds of herbs and plants and things like that. So I am going to have to go up there again and see if I can get some things. But one of the things that I wanted was I wanted to get a quilt top from her. And let me just put this aside. So the reason that I wanted to do that was because of the book, where, you know, the connection with the Amish quilts and the quilt makers from Wales, and the binding of those two cultures and those two histories. So Rebecca had, I said, do you have a quilt top? Oh, yes, I do, she said. I definitely do. So she had just finished making, and I'll take a picture of it. Maybe I don't know if I can stand up, if I can show it all. But I don't even know, I don't think this is called the Ohio Star, but it's just the stars in all these beautiful pastel colors. So it was all pieced together, and I'll take a full picture. It has to go on the floor. But isn't that gorgeous? I mean, it's impeccable. These things, they can't line up any better than they do. Everything is perfect, just like her garden. So when I was listening to my video, when I put the book over my face, I'm like muffled. So, and the really cool thing is I have the binding. She made the binding for me, and it's all these colors. So I just stabbed myself with my needle. So I'm quilting this by hand. And so the Welsh one is doing the quilting, and the Amish one did the piecing. So, but isn't this gorgeous? And it's so much fun. So when I get this finished, I'm gonna take this up to her. I'll probably be embarrassed because she's, you know, I've looked at her quilts on her quilting frame. Oh my gosh, her stitches. They're perfect. They're perfect, tiny. Every stitch is the same length, same distance. And I don't have that skill yet. I'm gonna get that skill, but I don't have it yet. So I will put a picture in here so you can see what it looks like. Oh, and then the backing. I picked out the backing. So I thought this, I don't know if you can see, it's yellow polka dots. And I thought that would be really cheerful. So if future grandchild, maybe. We'll see. So, but anyway, I'm working on this, and it's not that, it doesn't take that long. So yes, so I'm really proud of this, and this makes me really happy. So that's one quilt. Now I'll show you the other quilt. This one is also very near and dear to my heart, and I'll show you the big picture of this one. But this one, my grandma loved to do embroidery. And I remember when I was a little girl, I would sit at her house and I would play in her. She had one of those green wicker sewing kits with the little lid that sat on top, and it had little flowers and little silver handle, and it had all the little compartments, and I would sit and play with that. And she did show me, she taught me how to embroider. But these are little squares that my mom gave me. Mom, do you remember these? And these are Little Bear and all the different seasons. So we've got this one, summer. I don't know if there's, I would think they were seasons, maybe spring. With the flowers. And then this is a little fire in the winter. And then this one over here, one has to be fall. That's the honey, so that you would do that either in the spring or the fall. Let's see with this one. That's the winter. So, summer. Maybe spring, winter. Maybe that's fall. I don't know. That one's hard to tell. So it'd be summer, winter. That has flowers. I would say maybe the honey one is the, because you harvest the honey in the fall, right? So anyway, I'll show this one. I'll spread this one out too and show it to you right here. Okay, here's the thing with this one. I was really stumped. I know what to do. I can do anything along these borders. I just didn't know what to do with the bears. So I think what I'm gonna do is just kind of an echo quilting all around the bear as much as I can. And I think that'll be really nice. Just do some echoing around the embroidery images. So yeah, these are my quilts. Now I have two more, and I think I'm gonna wait, and I think I'll show you those the next time we meet. And we'll talk a little bit more about history, about the history of quilts. what I'm up to, if I'm doing my paper piecing, what crafts I'm working on. I am going to add a couple more segments that I think will be fun. And one segment that I want to continue is the podcast that I really enjoy watching. And this one that I just started watching, and I told Penelope, I said, you really helped me through COVID, because when you're just laying there and you're so miserable and you want to knit and you want to quilt and you want to get up and you want to do all the things, but you can't, the best medicine for me is to watch the podcasts or the vlogs. And Penelope popped up actually a couple days beforehand, and her vlog is called Penelope's Chinwag, and I think she started a couple years ago. She's got a good number of followers, and I can see why, because it's really interesting. She does a lot of really neat things. Her and her husband live on the south. They're in the southeast of the UK, and they live. It's a seaside area where they live, and you could actually see the sea from their house. It's beautiful, and they love bird watching. And she's doing some interviews with her husband, reminiscing about what London was like in the late 40s and 50s. And she talks about her mom and her mom's experiences living in London during the 30s and when the war first started, World War II. My battery. So I didn't realize how devastating it was over in the UK. I had no idea. Her mom talks about how there was bombings. They didn't know if their building was going to be there when they went to work. It was so crazy. So she quilts and she knits and she does all kinds of really fun things, and she just has a lot of really unique segments. But what really attracts me to her vlog is that she really gets to know the people that are watching her vlog, and she interacts. Like if someone asks a question, she helps them. Like someone had a question about quilting and making their first quilt, and she took the time to show, she talked about the person, the kind of quilt that they wanted to make, and then she walked them through the steps. And it's really, I just feel really, there are some podcasts, I don't know how mine comes across, but there are some podcasts where there is kind of a little bit of a disconnect if people don't mention people's names or things like that. I don't generally get a lot of questions. I wish I did. I'd be more than happy to answer lots of questions. But she has a really nice interaction with people, and she is so cheerful. And I really would encourage you to go over and to listen to Penelope's Chinwag. It's very, like, you just feel like you're a part of her life somehow. I don't know. But she talks about her husband, and her husband sits and talks and reminisces about London and when he was growing up. And so if you get a chance, you know, please hop over there. There's a few podcasts that I've connected with the people on a personal level, and I really enjoy that a lot. You know, I mean, we're here and I invite you into my home. Other podcasters invite all the viewers into their homes, and it feels like a really nice community. So I'm really happy to be here, and I'm happy I found Penelopes podcast, as well as so many others that I get so much joy out of watching. So what I'm going to ask of you is, if you have a favorite podcast, because this is the only thing I watch. I do not watch television at all. I know I should. I just don't. I don't watch TV. And I have my steadfast podcasts that I watch that I really enjoy. And they're generally not the, you know, the grandiose ones with, you know, the gazillion followers. Although I really enjoy Kate from The Last Homely House. She's got a lot of followers, but I like the homey ones, and the ones that they're not perfect. The sound isn't perfect. People come in and, you know, interrupt, and they chat, and like Penelope's husband came in, and he just got back from the grocery store, and, you know, just stuff like that just makes it real. So if you have a favorite that you really love, please share it with me. I'd love to watch other podcasts. So, and please, if you can, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you like my content, and give me a thumbs up. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry this is a little late, but I think you'll understand why. And I just babbled on for almost a half hour, so this is going to be a long one. So, all right, guys. Oh, and, you know, just sharing the love of COVID. Stephen has it. So, he took there's a medicine, antiviral, that his doctor prescribed, so he's on that. I toughed it out. So, I'm gonna make it even longer. Okay, so Penelope, I saw her with these little things, and I was like, oh my God, these are cute. I've seen these. Okay, these are little macaroons, mini macaroons. They're little, tiny little, they're like little, what were they, Polly Pockets for sewers. We can put a little, my daughters used to, oh my God, we had all the Polly Pockets. If the younger crowd remembers that, we had all of them. We also had Furby, who scared me to death, and I'll leave that for another story. But these are all hand sewn, and Penelope shows you how to make these. I got the kit with the instructions, and this is from the Sweet Sewing Shop. And then I forget where hers came from. Hers was from Lisa, from somebody. Hers was from a shop in the UK. And if you go and look at her playlist, she does have a playlist that shows you that she makes these. Look on Lisa, whatever her name is. If I can think of it, I will put it in the description below. But she has all kinds of really pretty colored zippers, and she has a ton of different fabrics, but I have so much fabric. But I did want to get the kit with the instructions so I can figure out how to do it. But Penelopes instructions are fab. They are the best. And then you can get, these are the little tins, like the little lids. So yeah, I am going to give a shot at making these. So I'll take you along. So I have my little jewelry box that I want to cover, and I want to do these. And I would like to show you how to do my rope bowls. So we'll do that too. I was going to include that in here, but I got sick. I got so sick. So, and I did, of course, I'm just a sucker for kits. I had to get another one of these kits. So, alrighty guys, I've got a little piece of ham in the oven and it smells so good. And my hand-woven magazine came, and I've done a couple things around the house. So I think I'm gonna give Gabe his dinner and I'm gonna read my hand-woven magazine. I did my schoolwork. I'm teaching 2 classes right now. Got all that stuff together, sent in grades that needed to be sent in, answered emails from people that had questions. I think I'm caught up because Monday and Sunday and half of Tuesday, I was like, bleh. But I'm better now. I'm good. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, hit the bell. You'll know when I come back, all that happy stuff. So, and I think I'm going to do my kitchen. I think I'm going to be here. You can see Scarlet Kitty's little bowl, which I don't mind that. And my nice little stove. That's an electric stove. It's not a wood stove, although I do have a wood stove in my studio that I have to get connected. And then I will talk about these. I don't think I ever did, but these are really special. They're hand painted from artists from Zimbabwe. And they're actually, not only are they hand painted, but they signed them. And there's a really cute story, and that is for another episode. Okay, guys, well, thank you. Thank you for coming. Please tell me what your favorite podcasts are so I can watch them too. And I will see you soon. So bye for now, guys. Take care of yourself. Wear your mask if you go on an airplane, and take your hand sanitizer. Okay, bye for now.